Welcome to the Citizen Information Meeting for the Bowers Hill Interchange Improvement Study. The Virginia Department of Transportation has developed this informational video to update viewers on the progress of the study process. This presentation will first provide an overview of the study. Next, the goals of the meeting will be outlined. The purpose and need for the study and the alternatives that will be considered in the EA will be described. And finally, the next steps for the study will be shared. As prescribed by the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, an EA is being prepared. Typically, an EA is prepared for projects receiving federal funds in order to determine if significant environmental impacts would occur as a result of implementation of the project. The EA study is being completed to evaluate transportation improvements at the Bowers Hill Interchange, located in Chesapeake, Virginia, and includes the junction of multiple major roadways, including Interstate 664, Interstate 264, Interstate 64, U.S. Route 460, U.S. Route 58, U.S. Route 13, and VA Route 191, Jolliffe Road. The study area identified is being evaluated for the purpose of the development of the EA. The study area represents the area in which potential impacts from the project could occur. The study area is large enough to encompass potential interchange improvements, but does not imply that impacts would occur to the entirety of the study area. The primary goal of this meeting is to share information that has been developed by VDOT with the community and the users of the interchange. VDOT wants your input on the study. Specifically, we want to share the purpose and need elements identified for the study, the alternatives that should be considered to address the established study needs, and the resources to be evaluated within the vicinity of the interchange. The purpose and need for the study has been developed as a tool that helps guide the evaluation of the alternatives. VDOT, FHWA, and their federal partners agreed to the purpose and need on July 11, 2018. The purpose of the Bowers Hill Interchange Improvement Study is to address current operational deficiencies, such as inefficient access configurations, while improving safety within weaving and transition areas at the junction of I-664, I-264, I-64, U.S. Route 460, U.S. Route 58, U.S. Route 13, and VA Route 191, the Bowers Hill Interchange. This study will also address current and future travel demand within the interchange. The following needs have been identified for the study. Operational deficiencies. Current access configurations within the interchange create inefficient weave conditions and traffic operations affecting route continuity and transitions between intended routes. Safety. Current conditions contribute to increased sideswipe crashes within the weaving area between the access and departure ramps of US 460 and those of I-264, as well as rear-end crashes along the entire study area of I-664 and I-64, and congestion and capacity. Current and projected future travel demands exceed interchange capacity, which causes congestion and negatively affects travel times. The existing interchange generally accommodates 2 through lanes for each direction of I-664, I-64, I-264, and U.S. Route 58. The southbound I-664 and eastbound U.S. Route 58 lanes and the eastbound I-64 and westbound I-264 lanes merge into 4-lane sections in the middle of the interchange to allow for weaving movements between the facilities. Other movements between the main lanes and the local access points are accommodated by loop or direct connector ramps. The first build alternative considered is to optimize lane balance. This alternative would add a 3rd lane along the southbound I-664 from the U.S. Route 58 eastbound entrance ramp to westbound I-64, a distance of approximately 2.7 miles. For the opposite movement, a 3rd lane would be added from eastbound I-64 to northbound I-664, a distance of approximately 1.6 miles. A 3rd lane would be added along northbound I-664 from the U.S. Route 58 westbound exit ramps north to the proposed improvements by others at the U.S. Route 58 eastbound entrance loop ramp, a distance of approximately 0.5 miles. This alternative would replace two existing bridges along eastbound I-64 to northbound I-664, widen the two existing I-64 bridges over the railroad, widen the existing bridge carrying southbound I-664 over South Military Highway, and widen the northbound I-664 bridge over U.S. Route 58. An auxiliary lane would be added from the Dock Landing Road entrance ramp on southbound I-664 to the westbound U.S. Route 58 exit ramp, a distance of approximately 0.5 miles. These improvements would improve lane balance and increase operational efficiency by providing additional capacity through a significant portion of the interchange. This alternative would not address the inefficient weaving conditions of the current interchange. Thus, it would not improve operational deficiencies in safety, as well as other build alternatives under consideration. The second build alternative, eastbound and westbound Route 58 braided ramps, would separate various movements by developing barrier-separated lanes and braided ramps for traffic from southbound I-664 and eastbound U.S. Route 58 to eastbound I-264 and I-64. In the opposite direction, new ramps and barrier would separate traffic from westbound I-264 and I-64 to northbound I-664 and westbound U.S. Route 58. A third lane would be added along northbound I-664 from the U.S. Route 58 westbound exit ramps north to the proposed improvements by others at the U.S. Route 58 eastbound entrance loop ramp. An auxiliary lane would be added from the Dock Landing Road entrance ramp on southbound I-664 to the westbound U.S. Route 58 exit ramp. This alternative would add a total of approximately 3.2 miles of new two-lane roadway and approximately 3.6 miles of new one-lane roadway and ramps. 6 new bridges would be required for the ramps, and 6 existing bridges would be widened, 2 carrying I-664 over West Military Highway, 2 carrying I-64 over Rotunda Avenue, 1 carrying the southbound I-664 to eastbound I-264 ramp over the westbound I-264 to westbound I-64 ramp, and 1 carrying northbound I-664 over U.S. Route 58. This alternative would improve operations by reducing weave conflicts and separating major through movements from local traffic. This alternative would also improve safety, provide additional capacity, and improve travel times, thus decreasing congestion. This build alternative proposed full interchange reconstruction and would reconstruct a majority of the interchange to separate main lane traffic between U.S. Route 58 I-264 and I-664 I-64 through the proposed interchange to eliminate the weaving movements between the facilities and improve ramp geometry and operation. This alternative barrier would separate the southbound I-664 to I-64 and eastbound U.S. Route 58 to eastbound I-264 traffic, and movements between the facilities would be accommodated with new braided and direct connector ramps. In the opposite direction, barrier would separate traffic from westbound I-264 to westbound U.S. Route 58 and I-64 to northbound I-664, with a similar series of braided and direct connector ramps to accommodate the major movements. The existing roadways and structures are maintained where feasible to accommodate the new geometry. New roadway and ramps would be constructed, impacting the north side of the interchange and the replacement of the loop ramps to the west side of the interchange. This alternative would add a total of approximately 5.3 miles of new one-lane roadway, 2.4 miles of two-lane roadway, and 1.9 miles of three-lane roadway. This alternative would improve operations by reducing weave conflicts and separating major through movements from local traffic. This alternative would also improve safety, provide additional capacity, and improve travel times, thus decreasing congestion. Following the citizen information meeting, VDOT will continue to refine the alternatives presented today and assess the potential impacts of those alternatives on area resources. It is anticipated that the EA will be published in May 2019, and the location public hearing will be held the following month. Once the EA is published and the Federal Highway Administration has issued a finding regarding the likely environmental impacts, the project may advance to detailed design and construction. The study process is anticipated to be completed by January 2020. VDOT wants to hear from you. Your feedback is critical to the success of the study and to the region's transportation future. Written comments regarding the content of this meeting will be accepted through September 1st, 2018. An electronic comment form is available on the VDOT study webpage at www.bowershillinterchange.com. The next public meeting for the Bowers Hill Interchange Improvement Study will be held shortly after the release of the EA. Be sure to visit the study website for periodic updates on our progress. Thank you for joining this informational meeting. We appreciate your interest and participation in this important study.